Well, hello everybody. This is Becky and I am back with another video tutorial for you in my all-day online Facebook stamping party. So I'm glad that you're joining me again. I've got 4 fabulous samples that I'm going to show you. I've been kind of gone off camera for a while, cutting and getting things ready so that this won't take as long to film. And I'm going to post pictures afterwards and more detailed information about the different products, as well as post those to my blog at wallflowergreetings.com. So you can always visit there for all the details, including measurements, because I'm not going to go through that in detail today. But I am going to show you 4 cards made with a combination of products from the Occasion and the Saleabration flyer. So the first one is a wonderful thank you, and I've noticed here that most of my cards have to do with thank yous and things like that, because right now, this time of year, I need a bunch of them. So that's kind of been my focus today. So the first one is a large thank you with some flowers. And so the 2 stamp sets that I used, of course, was the Avant Garden, and that I featured earlier. And then another one that is also a free item that you can get from Saleabration. This, I love this. It has a huge thank you. This is called So Very Much. I had to look to see what it was. And it's got all these, you can, pair them with all these little sentiments that go with the thank you. So for this card, I just used the large thank you, and I have this in wood mount. You have 2 choices, the clear mount rubber or the wood mount, and I like wood mount, and I'm going to take this out so I can show you. I prefer wood mount when it comes to stamp sets that have either lots of words, like that's all they are, like in this case, and large background stamps, like this thank you. So I just like it because I can put it together and it's all ready for me. And I don't have to worry about finding a block to fit it on. So for this, I've got my my stamps ready. So that's the first one we're going to do. I'm also going to show you how to make this one. This one is using a different stamp set, and I'll show you that in a minute, but that's in the Occasions catalog. And this background here was made with a really neat stamp set that's a free item that you can get in the Occasions catalog or in the Saleabration catalog. The next one uses Avant Garden again, that same thank you stamp set, which I'll show you. And then this is that background stamp, and I'll show you how I did that. This one is, I love this. This is called Hey Chick. This is another free set that you can get from the Saleabration catalog, and so I'm going to show you that one as well. So those are the 4 cards that we're going to do. So the first one is the thank you, and I noticed that I just had some cardstock laying around. The cardstock I used is actually no longer available. It was a retired color, which makes me sad because this was one of my favorites. But we're going to use an alternate color, and we'll see how this turns out. I'm going to use, what did I say this was? Peekaboo Peach? No, not Peekaboo Peach. I think this is, I don't believe it's, no, it's not. It is Flirty Flamingo. That's what this one is. And then we're going to layer with the Calypso Coral. I think those will go really well together. Okay, so that's the ink we're going to use. And so I'm going to go ahead and ink this up. And I think when I did this, I think that I stamped the flowers first. But I think for positioning purposes, and I don't think it really matters, I'm going to stamp the big thank you. And so what I'm going to do, since this is a really large stamp, I'm going to actually put the stamp rubber up and then add the ink that way. It just seems to be a little bit easier. Ink this up good. That's good. And I am not going to be real precise. I'm going to put it towards the top, but I'm going to tilt it a little bit because I kind of liked that. And let's see, I'm going to just do it right about there. Let's see how this looks. Okay, I like that. That's good. All right, so I'm going to set this aside. Running out of space here. All right, here we go. Put it over there. Okay, so using the same color, I'm going to take the flower petal from the Avant Garden and ink that up. And I'm just going to do that across the bottom here randomly. Oh, I also need the leaves. I noticed I did the leaves too. You could do leaves or not. So I'm going to ink this up and make sure I get it really good and inked. And I'm going to start kind of over here in the corner. So I'm going to stamp once and then I'm going to stamp it again. Okay, so I'm overlapping here. And I'm going to do one over here. And one right here. Oops, that one has a little bit of a line, so we're going to fix that. Okay, I think I know why I stamped off. When you do that, you really kind of need to re-ink it. I forgot to do that. But we're going to just try to see if we can fix this a little bit. Stamp over the top of it. Now probably what I should do now, that looks better. I think that's good enough. I mean, you really can't tell too badly there. Okay, so I'm going to stamp off. That's the way you should do it, because you'll get a line from the paper. Kind of forgot to do that. And this is going to look, every card's going to look a little different. So I'm going to do one there. Okay, there we go. I like that. And I'm going to go ahead, since I have it mounted, I'm going to go ahead and take this other stamp. This is the little dots that's in the stamp set. Okay, I'm going to ink that up the same color and just do some random dots everywhere. And I'm going to do a very light touch because I don't want it real dark. And I'm doing, again, very random. Some down here over the top of the flowers. And I think that looks pretty good. Maybe I'll do some over there. There we go. I think that's good. All right, so there's that one. Now I'm also going to get that leaf out. Forgot that I had used that. So we're going to do that real quickly. I can find it. Here it is. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and just mount it on the back of this little, I'm going to actually take this off so I can kind of see what I'm doing. Here we go. All right. So ink this little leaves up, and again, just do some random stamping. And it doesn't matter if they overlap. Let's see, I'll put one there. And I'm not really even caring if I get a good stamp or a good impression, because it's just pretty just random. Put one there. One here. And we need another one. Let's see. I don't know if I need one or not. Let me see. Maybe one over here. And there's a little bare spot over here. So let me do one more kind of coming off over here. Okay. So yeah, that's good. Like I said, they all look somewhat different. And that's really all there is to it. So that one is done. And you could add more leaves or more flowers wherever you'd like. So there's that. Okay, so that one is done. So we'll set that one aside. All right, so the next one we're going to do is this one. And that is using, for the card base, minced macaron. Okay. And I've got some a pre-cut circle. And there's my husband coming in from the garage. But this is a circle that's cut using these thinlet dies here, and I love these. This is the Stitched Shapes framelit dies. They come in oval, circles, and there's also rectangles as well. So I used the largest circle and cut this out. So we have that. And then also have a 2" by 4 1/4 strip of Whisper White. So both of those are in Whisper White. So what we're going to do is for this one, we're going to go ahead and stamp our circle first. And let me show you that stamp set real quick. Let me put this other ink away before I put my hand in it. Uh-oh, there we go. All right, so for this, we're going to use, let me get these out of the way, clean them later. Okay, so this one, we're going to use Dapper Denim ink for the sentiment. And I just stuck my hand in it, of course. But that's about what it is when you're stamping. You're going to get inky, and that's part of the fun. Okay, so the next stamp set we're using in this is called All Things Thanks. So it looks like that. Okay, and so here's what we're doing. We're going to do this Thanks for Everything. And it's funny because I think I'm not used to doing these videos, and everything's sort of a mirror image, so I may have been showing you things upside down. So I may just need to point them the way I'm seeing them and not the way I think you should be seeing them. Anyway, I'm still learning here. But we're going to go ahead and mount this. I'm going to just go ahead and get some of the ink off of there. And we're going to mount this on our block. Now this is the Red Rubber clear mount. Okay. And they mount the same way. They still have the traditional rubber. And I believe this is also available in wood mount, but I got the clear this time. I'm going to ink that up in the, I'm sorry, I'm shaking the camera. So I'm going to position that where I kind of think I like it on the circle. See if I like that. That's pretty good. I think I may have used a different color on that one. That looks a lot darker. Either that or I stamped off. But either way, I like it. So what I also did, and I'm not going to spend the time doing that, but in this picture here, what I did for the stitching part, because I don't know if you can tell, this has a stitching around the edge. And what I did is I followed along with a pen, with a marker, and I have a matching marker here. And I just went around and followed the lines of the stitching. So that's what I did for that one. I think for this one, for time's sake, I'm actually going to sponge. So let me grab a sponge here. Just to give it some definition. So we'll just quickly do a little light sponging around the edge. Ink on there. There we go. Oh, I think I know why that's lighter. You can actually take a marker, and I didn't have Dapper Denim with me because I was traveling when I made these samples. I was traveling to Austin for my friend's party, and I think I just had the Dapper Dinner marker, and you can tell a big difference, but I did go over the stamp using the brush tip of the marker. And so there's definitely a difference, but it does look like a different color, so I'm not really sure. But either way, I like it. Okay, so then for the next piece, for the strip, I did something kind of different here using a stamp set. Let me get this out of the way, that you can get free, and it makes little borders and designs, and I used it as a background. This one's called Delicate Details, and it's very, very pretty. You can do a lot of different things with this. Now this only comes in photopolymer, and I've already mounted that on a block, and because these come in photopolymer, I had to use the largest acrylic block, which this is a F block, and I lined them up as close as I could. They're maybe a little off, and I just mounted them by using the grid paper to kind of line them up. And the same thing, I'm going to do this face up. Oh, you know what I did? Haha, I sure did. You know what I did is I did these backwards. Well, that happens from time to time, so I am actually just going to try to flip them over. See if I can just line this up by hand. Wow. Yep, I did them completely, mounted them completely backwards. I've done that many, many times by accident. So, interesting. So let's just fix that real quick. Yeah, I've done that a bunch of times. And sometimes you might want to do that on purpose. It's called, I think somebody calls it reverse stamping, where you use the back of the stamp to kind of give yourself a solid, more solid image. But in this case, we don't want to do that. So let me just try to see if I can line this up, you know, somewhat decently. So yeah, it looks a little crooked. Yeah, a lot crooked. Let me see if I can fix it. Because these are so bendy, that's also another really good plus, because you can do different things with them by changing the shape. But when you want it straight, the best thing to do would be to mount it using your grid paper, and then that works a lot better. Let's see if I can fix this. Okay, I think, well, that I think is going to be the best I can do. Okay, so we're going to go with it. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and ink this up the same way I did the other one, since it's a large, I've made it into a large background stamp. And I want to get a good impression, so I'm going to try to, and I'm going to decide, I think this is what I did last time. We're going to try it this way though. I'm going to tilt it over, turn it over, because I think I can actually line it up better that way. And let's just see what happens here if I do this. Get it kind of where I want it. Stamp. And this may be a little crooked, but let's see how it looks. I'm going to press really good, let it on sit for a second. Pull it off and see what we get. Actually, that's not bad. It's really not. And once we add the circle on it, it's not going to be noticeable, I don't think. I'm going to put that out of the way. Close this back up. And so then all I'm going to do then is mount this on my card. So I'm going to get some snail. I'll just do that real quick. Where I want to put this. I like this kind of in the middle. That looks pretty good. Yeah, you can tell it's a little crooked, but we had this kind of ongoing joke at the party. It says, but it's homemade. So it doesn't have to be perfect. It really doesn't. Somebody will appreciate your homemade gift, and the thought that you did something specifically for them. So, you know, one of the things you could do is mount this off to the side or in the middle. I think I like it right there, just in the middle. And what I did is I used dimensionals to put that on, so we'll do that real quick. And you might want to use quite a few. I put one in the middle and around the sides. I don't want it to cave in the middle. I want to give it some structure, especially if you're going to send this through the mail. So maybe that's good enough. I tend to go through a lot of dimensionals. All right, so I'm going to peel the backings off of here into my trash over here. And I'm going to show you the last little step on this. This is really a pretty easy card to make. And I'm going to just position this where I want it. I'm not going to press down. It's too tilted. I don't like it quite that tilted, so let it out right about there. Okay, that's pretty good. All right, so there's my circle. Thanks for everything. Okay, so then we're going to make this little tassel at the top. And we are going to do a little technique here where we're just going to pull it apart and kind of fray it. Now if I can find the little tassel that I pre-made. Aha, here it is. So what I did is I took a piece of the metallic ribbon that's in our Saleabration catalog that you can get for free. I tied it in a knot, and you know, I made it fairly short. Okay. So what I'm going to do once I've tied it in the knot is that I'm just going to pull apart the fibers and just fray it. That's all I'm doing. And you can fray it as much as you want or as little as you want. I'm just pulling it apart. I'll do the same with the other side. Just kind of splitting it apart. Okay, kind of like that. There we go. And then I attached it with a glue dot. So we'll just do that, and we can kind of play with it and get it positioned the way we want. Well, let me find there's a dot. So put a dot on there, kind of where this knot is. And my knot is not as straight as the other ones, but the other one was, but it's good enough. So there we go. How about that? And then you can still kind of pull it apart or play with it a little bit to get it the way you want. And that is it. So that is our second card. So here's the original. I actually like the color a little better than this one, but they're both really good. Okay, there's that. All right, so our next card is going to be this one. This says, "You are amazing." And this is the same heart that we used earlier on the tag. This heart right here is using the tag punch. And all I did, both of these were kind of an accident, so to speak. And that's why there's really no true mistakes in stamping. Because what I did, I realized after I got this stamped that my corner of my heart was cut off. I didn't have it completely on the paper. So it had a straight edge. So I thought, well, I don't want to, you know, throw it away and waste it. So I just lined it up with the straight edge of my my card base and tilted it. So that worked out really well. And then this piece here is that background stamp that we just used on the previous card, okay, or that, you know, with the designs. And I had messed up my first stamping and it didn't stamp well in certain areas, so I just punched a heart out of one of the pieces that looked good to me. And then around the edge I just did some sponging. So that's how that turned out. So like I said, two things that were kind of accidental that most people would say, oh, this is ruined, and throw it away. Don't ever do that, because you can always use stuff. Even if it's a mistake, sometimes it comes out to be a happy mistake. I actually like the way this looks. So real briefly, I'll just show you kind of briefly what I did. So I ran this through the Big Shot, and this is the honeycomb background again. There's the heart, and you can see that I actually have a little bit of a edge here that's flat. So probably what I would do with this one, because I want a little bit more cut off anyway, I'm probably going to stamp it, tilt it a little bit, and let it hang off, and then just cut off the edge here that's hanging off. Okay, and then of course the heart. If you don't have any more of those, you can just simply stamp, use the background stamp that we just used to stamp your design on there. So basically, that's all there is to it, other than I also, once I put my heart on, then I also, so before, when I put the big heart on, I just glued it on with snail. Then I took the metallic ribbon again, and I just put a little piece, you know, of snail on the back on each side and stuck the ends to it, and then adhered the whole piece to the card. And then I just used dimensionals to put, one dimensional to put my little punched out heart on top. So that was it. That was pretty easy, actually. All right, so that was that card. Now the next one, let me show you this one. So again, I used the honeycomb embossing folder for that one. So here's my card. Keep wanting to turn it around like I'm showing somebody. Anyway, so here is the card, and I love this great little chicken with this crazy hair going everywhere. Apparently, I didn't know this, but there are chickens that really look like that. I had no idea. And so what I did is I just again used the circle from the from this set. I used the largest circle, okay, and I stamped my image. I used a real red marker to color in the hair and the little tail of the chicken, so that was pretty easy. And then this. So this is a punch that's in our annual catalog, and it looks like this. It's a banner punch, and I'll post the actual name of it here in a second, but it punches out 2 pieces, and so it looks like this. Now I had a real red marker. You could punch the bottom one, which is this one that's a little larger, out of real red cardstock. I didn't have that, but I did have my real red marker, so I just colored in that banner, or at least the edges that were going to be seen, and then I stamped "Hey Chick" on the smaller little banner, and then I glued, what did I do? Okay, so then the top one that I stamped "Hey Chick" on, I put it on the bottom banner with dimensionals and then glued it to my card. So that's what that turned out looking. And if you notice that on the honeycomb here, I used the reverse image, so I used the debossed image this time for this. It kind of looks like chicken wire, and I've seen a lot of people use this in a lot of different ways, but I liked the way that turned out. So that was pretty easy as well. Not a whole lot to these cards. So that is it. Let me show you these cards again the right way so that you can see them. So there is our original one that we stamped. There's this one, and the chicken. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a like or a thumbs up. I would love to see you comment on here. If you do, you are actually going to receive one of these cards in the mail just for making a comment. Let me know which one you like the best. I like them all. They're all different, using just a few ink, stamps and ink. And the reason why, I just had a few colors to work with because I had been traveling and only packed so many things. I only had so much room because I actually brought my Big Shot with me. And so I was, kind of just playing with what I had and the tools that I had. And you can really do a lot with just a few ink colors. You can expand those possibilities a little bit more by using your markers, your Stampin' Right markers, because that will give you even more color options. So again, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.